What is up, guys? This is like my third time recording this video. UFC 313 recap, aftermath, post nut um depression basically. Um I'm just going to start it off. This card was a blessing and a curse for the company, the UFC, and for MMA in general. The UFC just lost its greatest asset, but I will get to that later. Let's just start with the first the first fight of the night. Of the main card. Bobby Green versus Mauricio Rufy. Sorry, not Bobby Green. King Green. He gotta change his name back now. But Bobby Green gets absolutely starched in the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the fight. Now, I thought when this fight was announced, I was like, oh, okay. We're gonna get to see how good Rufy is, because Bobby Green's actually pretty slick with it. He's got great boxing. And then Rufy just landed one clean right hand, rocked him, and then backed up a bit. Acts like he was throwing a left hook, and then comes over the top with a wheel kick or heel kick. Fighting nerds might be like the biggest. Hopefully we get some new stars, and hopefully it's fighting nerds. Sorry, but that was insane. I watched it and I thought Bobby Green died. I thought he was dead. So, give Mauricio Rufy someone in like the top 10 to 15. I don't think he deserves to fight someone like. Let's think. Let's do some matchmaking here. Who should he fight? He called up Beneil Dariush. Now, if the UFC wants a dead body on their hands, then sure, go ahead and get Beneil Dariush. And they have someone in the top 10. I keep saying but that's someone in the top 10, so it would be a good matchup. We get to really see how good Rufy is. Beneil got a paper chin now. He's had like 2 back-to-back KOs. I mean, he took some good time off. I thought Moicano was gonna destroy Beneil Dariush, and it's not because Beneil's old or anything. I'm pretty sure he's older than Moicano. I just think Moicano has showed a lot more than Beneil, but we're probably not gonna get that fight, and it's probably gonna get Rufy and Beneil. But gosh damn, dude. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say about that. Great performance from Rufy, looks fantastic, and I can't wait to see what's next for him. Next was Amanda Lemos versus some babyface. I don't even know her name. Both their walkouts were terrible, absolutely horrible walkouts. They had some pretty terrible haircuts too. Lemos looks like Charles Oliveira from Temu, so there's that. And yeah, that fight was a nothing burger. Basically a nothing burger. I don't know why we're putting Amanda Lemos on the main card over Joshua Van. I thought we're favoring entertainment here, the UFC brass. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Why are we putting Josh Van on the prelims and putting Amanda Lemos on the main card? Why do I have to pay to see Amanda Lemos? I don't want to pay to see Amanda Lemos. She just fought in the Apex. I don't like what are we doing here? So yeah, that's nothing burger. Absolutely horrible fight. Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. It is such a tragedy with Jalen Turner because he's so skilled. Here's the thing with Jalen Turner. It's more of like he's one of those fighters that are super skilled, but he just does not have any luck on his side. It just sucks because like he was low-key beating Dan Hooker's ass in the fight and then got caught and lost in the round because he almost got finished at the end. And then for the third round, he just didn't do enough to win it, and Dan Hooker was able to come back and squeeze in a victory last minute. And then with Bobby Green, I feel like that fight really messed with his mentality. He was too scared to really hurt people, which is what led to him getting finished by Moicano. And then in this fight, he just wasn't mentally there. He was mentioning how he was thinking about retirement. He was thinking about really getting his mentality right before he came back. And, usually when fighters have that, they're not going to be the same fighter. And Ignacio Bahamondes submitted him triangle choke, I think what it's called. I'm such a casual. I don't even know the chokes. But it sucks. It sucks because he is so talented. I feel like if he just trains more, like if he switches camps, I feel like he'd be an absolute demon. He would be on demon time. He would be great. But I understand his retirement. Training camps cost a lot of money, and on top of that, you got to pay for travel, hotels, and you're getting taxed on your paycheck wherever you go. So, I mean, I completely understand it. Ignacio Bahamonde should probably fight Gamrot, someone like Gamrot for, what do you call it? For Bahamondes, probably a good enough fight. Mateus Gamrot, I don't think he's gonna fight. I don't think he's gonna fight anyone interesting soon. So why not just book him against Bahamondes? Like, shit, they should make me a matchmaker. I would be cooking up amazing matchmaking right there. I would not put Joshua Van on the prelims, though. That's something I would not do as well. Like, what are we thinking? Why are we doing this? It doesn't make any sense. So now to the co-main, Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Fantastic fight from those two. I feel like those two could fight 10 out of 10 times and be a banger every single time. I think Fiziev should probably move down to 145. He even mentioned that after the fight on an Ariel Helwani interview. So I feel like that's going to be good. He won't be as pillow-fisted either. Because I feel like the people at 155, they're humongous compared to him. And like, I don't know. Either Justin Gaethje just does not care that he got knocked out, or Fiziev just doesn't have any power, and I'm pretty sure it's more of Fiziev not having much power because, oh my gosh, dude. Some of the hits that Fiziev was landing on Justin, I was like, bro, let's just ignore that you got knocked out by Max last fight. All right, let's just ignore that. So, yeah. I think Fiziev moving down to 145 was a great decision, and I think it's also great for the UFC because there's not a lot of stars at 145. Max moved up, Ilya moved up. Now all we have is Volk and Yair, I guess, and Lopez. Like, not a lot of people really care about Yair as much ever since he got submitted by Ortega. Like, it kind of sucks because I'm a huge Yair fan, but you know, it would be really interesting seeing Fiziev at 145. Probably chuck him into a top 10 opponent at 145 just because he took a short notice. Like, the UFC should just reward him, even though, like, I don't believe in handouts either. Trust me, I don't. But for Fiziev taking a fight against Justin Gaethje, former BMF, got a performance bonus in every single one of his fights in the UFC. Like, that is insane. And he didn't get finished at all. He even won the first round against Justin, so honestly, I think they should just reward him with a top 15 opponent in his featherweight debut. And let's just see how it goes from there. You know, fantastic fight from both. Justin Gaethje should probably fight Dan Hooker or Arman Tsarukyan. I would love to see the Dan Hooker fight more, though, because that fight would be an absolute war between the two. That was probably the best. That was the best matchup. That was going to be the matchup of the night. That was going to win fight of the night. I think Justin Gaethje would have won, too, because Dan Hooker's style against Gaethje would probably, to pressure him. And even if let's just say Dan Hooker stays at range against Justin Gaethje, like, he's getting his leg chewed off, okay? Justin would chew that man's leg off that whole fight. So I don't think that would have been a good. I don't think Dan would have. It would have been a war, though. Don't get me wrong. That fight, both of them would have taken such severe damage. But honestly, they're probably going to do either Ilya versus Justin, Arman versus Justin, because I don't think Justin should fight for the title. Like, they got to stop giving Islam, people that are coming off a one-fight win streak for a title defense. I mean, I understand with Dustin because the UFC was in a kind of a shitty situation with Arman and Charles. So I think that was a good enough decision for them. With Justin, it doesn't really make any sense. If it was against Dan Hooker, yeah, I mean, I understand, but it was against Fiziev, who was on a 2-fight losing streak, and even lost to Justin 2 years ago, so, I think Justin should fight, probably, I would love to see the Dan fight. I would say Arman, because, Arman is at number 1, but, I think the UFC should prioritize entertainment now because of what happened in the main event. Now, so moving on to the main event. Now, this is what I mean by this is a blessing and a curse. For everything that unfolded after the event, I think it's safe to say that if Alex won, we would have gotten Alex versus John Jones. And I know we all don't want to see that fight. We all don't want to see that stupid ass fight. That fight is ridiculously dumb. That fight is horrible. Like, I would have loved to see... I think everyone wants to see Tom versus John. It's the only fight that makes sense. Alex Pereira racked up 3 title defenses, while John Jones was only able to get 1. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why? Why are we doing this? What is going on? Why hasn't it been made? But now that Alex has lost, thanks to Magomed, we are finally going to get that fight. Nowhere to run for John Jones. He can't run away from Tom. He can't pull the excuse that, oh, it's a more interesting fight for me to fight Alex Pereira. Like, you can't pull any of that anymore, dude. You got to fight Tom, the interim champion. You got to unite the belts. And if he wins, hey, he won, all right? That steroid cheat is the greatest of all time, okay? That's something we can't deny at that point. Especially with John Jones at this point in his career, with how slow he looks, how shit he looks. I mean, if Stipe is able to have success with his boxing, with his slow ass, with John Jones a little bit, like, what's not to say with Tom Aspinall? But we will have to see. Now, with Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev, that fight was terrible. It was so boring. Alex spent a majority of the fight just backing up, and I don't know why. He just looked really slow this fight. Even when he was warming up, he looked terrible. He looked sloppy. He looked slow. I don't know if he was sick or something. But I think with Alex, he needs to lock... Maybe it's also a good thing that he lost. Because the fame was getting to his head too much. He was fucking partying with Drake instead of training. He was playing in a frozen pond instead of training. So I think for this to happen to him, he's going to be locked in more. And I think he might have a little bit more success in the rematch because now he's like, all right, this guy is a fraudulistic takedown. This guy can't wrestle with me. He can't take me down. The only thing he can do is hold me up against the cage and be a little bitch. And he does have good boxing. I'll give Magomed that. But the only reason why it says that Magomed outstruck him by like 20-something strikes is because they're counting the garbage, the terrible, ineffective strikes in the 4th round where he held him up against the cage for 5 minutes straight. So that's the only reason why they're even counting it. And it makes, other than that, the fight was decently close. I think I gave rounds 1 and 5 to Pereira. 3 is I don't really know because I know a lot of people are saying that all Alex did was back up and land leg kicks. But even then, just by landing leg kicks, I feel like he landed a bit more than Magomed did. So I really don't know. Yeah. Alex, I'm not gonna deny this though. Alex looks bad last night. He looked slow. He was not countering at all. If he goes into the rematch with how he fought in the 5th round, he could probably win. I'm gonna say that. Because he was actually, taking initiative, picking his shots a lot better. Wasn't just throwing a leg kick. So I feel like if he does that, he'll do a lot better. With Magomed Ankalaev, I don't care. The only good thing about him winning is that we finally get to see John versus Tom. But other than that, it's a terrible thing for the UFC. Now, we're going to go back to light heavyweight being in the dark ages. We're back to that. So, yeah. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Who should Alex... fuck it. You already know. They should just run the rematch back. But, yeah. Screw Magomed Ankalaev for talking shit about my favorite samurai, Yuri Prohaska. That's probably just Ali. I'm not gonna lie, Ali Abdulaziz. So yeah, it's probably him. But let me know what you guys thought about the event. Did you like it? Who should they all fight next? And I will see you all later. See you guys.